Good morning, this is Houndog Steve wishing you a very pleasant morning. And sorry it's been so long between videos, but you know, I've been so busy doing all of this building. By the time I get to the evening, I am just absolutely pooped. But I wanted to do a little follow-up on this story, the Deep North Love Your Pet spray, because it has now been put back onto the market. Health Canada has relented, and I think I know the reason why. And it is because of this little piece of legislation, which means that they can now go what is called a robust cost recovery mechanism. And so they are going to basically bankrupt many of these small producers by forcing them to register all of these formulas. Now, of one formula, and I'm going to show you in a second, one formula for this, $58,000 to get this registered. But I think the real sledgehammer in these regulations is the product manufacturer has to prove efficacy of the product. In other words, does it actually work? Does it do what it says it's going to do? And as we all know, like I've been taking vitamins for years, and the effects of vitamins are very subtle. Okay, it's not like, you know, when you take an aspirin for a headache, you know, basically within half an hour that headache is probably starting to recede. However, you know, that's why there is so much less risk with natural health products, because they work more in tune with the body rather than just like I say, you know, pumping it into high gear and but having side effects associated with them. So it's very hard to prove efficacy, you know, when you look at a herbal manual. And it goes back into, you know, the 18th century, or, you know, the healer of the village would concoct these medicines, you know, out of plants and one thing and another. And how do you, that's anecdotal evidence as far as the Ministry of Health is concerned. So this is probably going to be the most difficult hurdle for any individual naturopath or small business to overcome in the natural health products. And, you know, because like again, as I say, Big Pharma are the only people who can afford to do these kind of things or twist arms, as we've seen recently. You know, a lot of arms were twisted to get a certain product on the market, you know, which has now been clearly shown to have absolutely monstrous side effects. I mean, I'm certain that the lawsuits will be going on for a long time about that whole issue. And here we have natural health products or people who want to, you know, have a more gentle effect on the body, you know, are being cut completely out of the loop. And that is not the only thing, so let's just go through that very quickly. I'll just show you the salient pieces in this document, and then we'll come back and I'll do a quick explanation of what I think is going wrong with the world here. Okay, here we go. Okay, so here it is. Here is the document, Proposed Fees for Natural Health Products. And I noticed down in the bottom right hand corner is all kinds of chemicals and pills. Wouldn't be a nudge towards Big Pharma, would it? But I love this. This is absolutely amazing. Health Canada is the federal department responsible for helping people of Canada maintain and improve their health. Health Canada is committed to improving the lives of all Canada's people and to making this country's population amongst the healthiest in the world as measured by longevity, lifestyle and effective use of the public healthcare system. And so that's why we were locked down and mandated, I guess. Yes, the BS and the hubris is unbelievable by these people. Now, if you look under the address, copyright. His Majesty the King in Right of Canada, as represented by the Minister of Health 2023. Publication date May 2023. Now, King Charles has only been king for a very short period of time, but it didn't take them long to get his name on this document. And it's interesting to note the connection that the King still has in the affairs of Canadians and the Canadian government. And here's another little part of the document I thought was kind of interesting about Health Canada. Health Canada is the federal department responsible for helping Canadians maintain and improve their health whilst respecting individual choices and circumstances. You're kidding me. Respecting individual choices and circumstances? How can they say that with a straight face? I mean, I ask you. I mean, I don't know about you, but I have lost complete faith in these people. I wouldn't take a recommendation from them if they paid me. Okay, so this is Table 1, Proposed National Health Product Fees and Performance Standards, and you will see as you go down, Class 1 application or amendment, $1,100, Class 2 application or amendment, $2,700, Class 3 application or amendment, $7,200, Class 3 novel application, okay, this is for new products or new concoctions coming onto the market, $58,000. And that's not all. A Class 3 novel safety and efficacy amendment, $23,000. And a Class 3 novel quality amendment, $8,700. Okay, so you're looking at least $58,000 to put a new product on the market. Then on top of that, you have the Natural Health Product site licenses, which you have to have. Site license applications or amendments, $4,700. Annual site license manufacturing sterile dosage form, $40,000. Annual, this is every year. Annual site license manufacturing non-sterile dosage form, $23,000. Annual site license importation, $20,000. So that's if you're bringing stuff in from another country. Annual site license packaging, $7,650. Annual site licenses labeling, nearly $7,000. And it takes 30 to 90 days for renewals and 90 days to review license renewal application or confirm license information. Unbelievable. So as you can see, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to rule out a lot of the small to medium players in natural health products. It's just going to completely price them out of the market or steal all of the potential profit. You know, as with the product that we're talking about here, Love Your Pet, you know, this is a person working by herself. I'm sure that the profit margin is not huge. It's a sort of secondary income for her family. And remember, this is an annual fee. Okay, and if you happen to import those essential oils, the packaging and the labeling, you're looking at nearly $35,000. That's unbelievable. On top of the $58,000 for a novel concoction. I mean, how can anybody afford to do this? I mean, this is going to completely destroy the natural health product industry. And of course, we all know who is going to benefit is Big Pharma or a subsidiary of Big Pharma who are getting into this very, very, very lucrative market. Absolutely unbelievable how the government has turned that legislation upside down and brought in all these rules to not to help Canadians maintain their health, but to discourage them from maintaining their health. Anyway, I am just stunned by the underhandedness of this behavior. And remember, we're paying these people. We're paying these people to make life difficult for us. You know, they're supposed to make life easier. Absolutely staggering. Anyway, I will link the document below and you can read the whole darn sorry mess for yourself. And as soon as this starts to really take effect, I would imagine by early next year you are going to start seeing things disappear off the shelf, or people who retail this stuff are going to start dropping things that are slow movers or don't make an awful lot of profit. And along with that, I am certain that this is going to destroy just about every naturopath in Canada, as they will not be able to afford either to license all of the different personal individualized medicines and supplements that they give to their patients. Very, very sad day indeed for Canadian natural health practitioners and for natural health product producers and innovators. What I mean by the problem with the world is we're seeing this absolutely everywhere now. Now, the legislation that came out basically said, like, this is what was passed by government, okay, is that you need to have proof that it's safe, which, you know, I think we can all agree with, and also that they can go after some cost recovery, because obviously it does take some cost, extra cost, to do all of this kind of stuff for, you know, larger companies, smaller companies. So, you know, I mean, it seems reasonable, okay, but when you actually sort of drill down and you look at what it's really going to cost people to do this, and this is being done at a stealth level. Okay, these decisions were made at committee, and that is why talking to your politician really has little or no effect, because they are basically, they don't control the civil service, and the senior civil service has basically controlled and captured the entire government system. And I'm going to give you a little example of this. I just heard about this the other day. A friend of mine who is a councillor for City Quarter Lakes was going down the street, and he saw a bylaw officer in a confrontation with a storekeeper over signage on the street, and he got out of the car and he went to see if he could help out. Well, it got into a bit of raised voices and so on and so forth, because this one storekeeper was basically being singled out when there was another sign exactly the same, which the bylaw officer was not going to deal with. And so anyway, the long and short of it was a bit testy. Well, next thing you know, the councillor has been called in by the CAO, that's the Chief Administrative Officer of City Quarter Lakes, and between him and the mayor, he was hauled over the coals for doing that, and he was fined 2 weeks' wages, because it is written in the procedural bylaw that councillors cannot speak directly to staff. And, you know, well, what is a councillor there for? If you cannot interact directly with staff and you have to go through this whole mind-numbing procedural process to get anything done, so what should have happened? Apparently, and this is in the procedural bylaw, that councillor should have got a motion, found a seconder, presented it at council, and if that motion passed, then it is handed off for the CAO to talk to that bylaw officer or the bylaw department to sort out the problem. But the councillor cannot directly intercede on behalf of the public. So it's just an illustration, a little illustration of what is happening all over the world right now. And when you look at the way the EU behaves, all of those commissions, you know, when they had Brexit, a referendum, okay, they voted to separate. Oh, no. That's the wrong decision. We have to have another referendum. Well, no, we don't. We just had a referendum. And it is with all of the other deals, the treaties that have been signed, the Maastricht Treaty and the Dublin Treaty, the Treaty of Paris. If they get the wrong answer, guess what? They're going back again, and they keep going back until they get the right answer. So this is a system which is impenetrable. You and I cannot get quickly enough to that committee meeting to raise issues. And even if you do raise issues, we had a situation where there was some planning going on in the village that I lived in, a secondary plan, and we didn't like that plan. There was some really big issues in it. And, you know, you could say, well, we're just members of the public, but one of the people on that amending committee was actually a planner in the private sector who did work for municipalities on their official and secondary plans. And she was telling all kinds of problems that was with this plan, okay? And we supposedly got a whole bunch of amendments done to that plan, and then when we went to the council meeting and we saw the plan that staff presented back to council for approval, it was the original plan with no changes whatsoever on it. we were stunned. We were absolutely stunned at all of the work that we had done, all of the time that we'd sat down at that committee, several meetings, like there was about 8 meetings. I videotaped all of them to show what we had done, and it amounted to nothing. These people just completely circumvented, they ignored the whole process. They just put forward the original plan that council had pre-approved and were, waiting for the final vote. So it's almost impossible to change the direction of what is happening by voting one party out and another party in. All of these people, all of these politicians are now subservient to the civil service. And as long as that is the case, as long as they have no independent decision-making process, you can have as many commissions, you can vote in whoever you like, nothing is going to change because, like I say, the decisions, the real decisions, government passes legislation, the legislation seems to make sense, but it's when it goes down to the civil servants and the committee level, how they flesh out what that legislation is going to look like. That's where the devil is, okay, in those details. And that's where we get the saying, of course, the devil is in the details, because, they have interpreted a robust cost recovery mechanism as, $58,000 for a new formula. And then continual ongoing registration, yearly registration, and that is a lot of extra work for a small company. So you're going to find with natural healthcare products, for example, but anywhere else that this happens, it's going to fall into the hands of big corporation, big pharma, because these are the people who can afford to go through these processes and not be affected by the cost, or they'll just pass the cost on to the customer. Many of these small businesses only have a few employees. They're not making a huge amount of money, certainly not in the millions every year from their products, and it's just going to price all of these people out of the market. And as I said before, with this particular product, these are just natural essential oils, okay? Or every single product used in here is available to the public over the counter, without a prescription, without a certificate, without any kind of authorization from the government. But the point is that the government now has control over every aspect of people getting into any kind of enterprise. What happened to the entrepreneurial spirit? What happened to people going out and starting a business? Maybe, there are people who are not in a position to put this together. Maybe they don't have time. Maybe they don't have the facilities, whatever it is. This person has a right to create this product, and as long as it is safe, sell it to the public and make a profit for their work. And I might add, with natural health products, that never in the history of natural health products has anyone ever died from a natural health product. But when you look at Big Pharma, go on to Wikipedia and type in the name of any big pharma company, whether it be Merck or Johnson & Johnson, Pfizer, whoever it is. Just go down, scroll down to the lawsuits. Okay, think of things like OxyContin or thalidomide, the antidepressants, the antipsychotics, and all of the damage that has been done by those chemicals, and they get a free pass. I did in the previous video about this, I talked about DEET. This company, this product is getting a free pass, basically, and it is shown to do damage. Okay, you can actually see that it does damage to the human body. What about all the pesticides and herbicides that are being used, insecticides? They all come with warning signs. They do damage to insects, humans, whatever, and they get a free pass. But a natural health product, which has done no damage whatsoever in its entire history, is now all of a sudden coming under the spotlight and being forced either to be put into the hands of Big Pharma, who have a terrible track record. So this is putting all of this into the hands of Big Pharma and all those would-be entrepreneurs, small businesses who, employ a lot of people in these small towns and villages, out of business. It is absolutely unbelievable. But if you ever wanted to know what the problem is, more than the politicians, it's the politicians bowing to the civil servants. And until we solve that problem, we are going to be in the situation that we are in right now, as far as the eye can see. And I actually don't have any solution, because our only intermediary is a politician to turn round and tell those civil servants what they should be doing. Like, they're the trustees. They're the ones who do as they are told. That's why they're called servants. But they have now flipped around. This layer has slithered their way in, and they are now taking charge of everything. And so we're in trouble, folks. We are in big trouble, because this is so subterranean. It is unbelievable. Anyway, if you've got any ideas as to how we can solve this, please leave them in the comments below. And in the meantime, like, comment, subscribe. And this is Houndog Steve signing off, wishing you a very pleasant morning, and we'll talk very, very shortly now. See ya. Bye.